with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's the local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on this rainy, stormy Monday afternoon in the city. It is June 17th, 2024, 6 o'clock straight up, which means, ladies and gentlemen, yes, indeed, do not change that dial. It is time for Real Talk Memphis. I am your humble host, and my name is Chip Washington. Very glad to be here. It was not the most enjoyable ride down here from where I stay with all this rain and thunder and just kind of, you know how folks drive in weather like this. I hope that wherever you are right now or wherever you're going, you get there safely. It looks like the rain is easing up a bit right now, so that means we hope that most of it has worked its way to the east of us, and we don't have to deal with a whole lot on the back end of us. So very, very good on that. I hope you've had a good week since we last connected up with each other last Monday night. All is well with you in your world. All is well with me in mine. Brennan and I are handling the ship tonight. Lola is off this evening handling some other duties, so we wish her safe travels as well. If you are trying to find this fine piece of radio broadcasting, well, let me help you out. We are on 91.7 on your FM dial live right now on WYXR on the FM side. You can always catch us on the WYXR app. You can also listen to this broadcast on the TuneIn app. And we are live streaming tonight on Facebook Live. So if you want to go there and see who you will be listening to, you can do that as well. When the show is posted in another day or so, you can find us on YouTube. And we are a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. In case you did not know, you can download us anytime. You can pick us up wherever it is you get your podcast. So we hope you do that and hope you tell folks about Real Talk Memphis, what we're doing here. And if you like it, we would really appreciate it. We appreciate a kind word from you. Guests tonight include Sarah Houston. Sarah is also known as the water warrior around here. Now, you know, we're all dealing with this XAI supercomputer issue that is that's coming our way. Big computer, and it's supposed to do this, it's supposed to do that, and everything else. Well, I still don't know a whole lot about this, and I'm going to endeavor to try to get some folks on who can explain it like I'm a third grader, because I just don't get it. But one of the initial concerns was that it needs water and lots of it, and it needs electricity and lots of that. Sarah is the executive director of Protect Our Aquifer. And I brought her on the show to talk a little bit about some initial concerns that they had, not only her organization, but other environmental groups, to determine whether or not this is going to affect our precious water supply. So Sarah will be joining me in just a couple of minutes to talk about that. A little bit later on, we'll have a very familiar face and broadcaster in this community. He is a columnist. He is a radio host. He has a 2-hour radio show each and every morning from 9 to 11 a.m. on the ESPN radio. He's also a columnist for the Daily Memphian. He is Geoff Calkins. And Geoff will be by to talk with us a little bit about what is on his mind. I had him scheduled for a couple of weeks back, but we couldn't make it work because I wanted to talk a little bit about college athletes now are being paid in all these colleges around the country and how that would affect the University of Memphis in terms of recruiting, in terms of the money they could offer some of these young folks from this NIL, name, image, and likeness. So Geoff will talk about that, and also about his memories of the late basketball legend Jerry West. They had a few interesting battles back in the day as well. And a little bit later on in the broadcast, we are going to be speaking with a gun safety expert. He also owns his own place where he trains folks in guns and weaponry and things like that. He's a former Shelby County Sheriff's deputy. He's Bennie Cobb. And Bennie is going to come and join me in the second half hour to talk a little bit about some of the gun laws, some of the gun controls, and an organization that he's with that is picking up some steam nationally in this country, and about an event that they are launching as well. So there you go. I think we have a nice, well-rounded group of individuals to join us. You might as well sit back and relax and check us out tonight. The weather, like I said, to be outside right now is not necessarily the best. And if you're traveling, you're stuck someplace, hit us up on 91.7 on your FM dial in your car radio. And you can check us out till 7 o'clock this evening. I neglected to get birthdays today, but I will say this. Anyone who has celebrated a birthday over the weekend or on this Monday, the 17th, from all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, we wish you a wonderful celebration. We hope that this day has been filled with love and laughter for each and every one of you. And we look to join you again next year, if the Lord says so, for your next trip around the sun. So I want a couple of deaths I want to make note of here. For those of you who have lived in this town some length of time, maybe all of your life, you're familiar with WLOK Radio, gospel radio station, AM 1340 on your dial. One of their very long-time personalities transitioned last week. Many of you who are regulars on that station know the name Delsa the Fireball Fleming. And Delsa was on WLOK for over 4 decades. She retired sometime last year, I don't know, around September, October last year, as I remember correctly. And of course, her health declined a bit, and she transitioned last week at the age of 81. A lot of folks in this town, again, who have been longtime listeners of that radio station, knew Delsa. She had a lot of friends in this community. She was well loved in this community, and we are absolutely going to miss her. You can call the station to find out about any of the services. I know that there is a viewing at MJ Edwards Funeral Home in Whitehaven area. That will be this Friday evening from 4 to 7 p.m. And then her homegoing service will be at a church over in Germantown. Sorry, I do not have the name of that church. But anyway, rest in peace, rest in love, Delsa Fireball Fleming. And for those of you who grew up in the 70s and the 80s, maybe this name sounds familiar to you. Angela Bofield. Angela Bofield was a big talent, and she had a big voice too. Back in the 70s, she was really big. Back in those days, kind of the R&B, kind of a jazz influence. She got sick a couple of times. She had 2 massive strokes, in the one in the 70s and one in the 80s. And she took a very long time to recover from that. She did come back for a period of time, but we hadn't heard from her in a very long time. Well, she died over the weekend at the age of 70. I was a big Angela Bofield fan. I went to see her when I lived in Los Angeles, and man, she had a powerful, powerful set of pipes on her. So again, for both Delsa and Angela Bofield, may your memories always be a blessing. So let's talk about some news and notes. And I'm talking to you felons out there right now. And now you probably said, what? What did he say? What did he call us? If you, ladies and gentlemen, have had a warrant at one time or another from the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, you might want to be looking in the mail, because they have over 20,000 warrants that have not been satisfied or taken care of, that they are about to serve via a postcard. They're going to send you a nice postcard in the mail. I am not kidding about this if you hadn't heard. And it is going to say that you have an outstanding warrant, And you have a chance to come in and take care of that warrant, because they will come. That's me knocking on your door to find out why you haven't taken care of this. This is happening right now. 20,000 outstanding warrants. That's a lot. Now, that prompts me to ask, well, where you been, Sheriff's Office, if you've amassed that much and that many people? So if you do, you will be getting a postcard warrant. It will tell you that, yes, you do have a case, and probably give you particulars and tell you to come in before they come and get you, okay? Don't say I didn't tell you, because I just did. 20,000 of them. Meantime, the Memphis and Shelby County School Superintendent, Dr. Marie Fagans, of course, many people are talking about the fact that she is doing some reorganizing and some reshuffling there, moving staff from a central office to classrooms and other areas within the department. Now, that was a big deal last week. Of course, the board put a stop to this for now, a pause, if you will, because they weren't really informed about this like they needed to be informed about it, or they wanted to be informed about it, and they didn't have the information. So they are all getting together now with the superintendent, and she's laying out her plan. This could include some layoffs once this thing starts to move forward again. But right now there is a pause in all of this, so everyone can gain a clearer understanding. The superintendent says there's about 200 positions that are open in the district, and she plans on moving some employees around, making offers. The employees will get a letter in the mail stating that you have an opportunity to leave your current position and move into another position, which is probably going to be of a lower rank, if you will, lower payment, because they need the help. There are a lot of vacancies inside the Shelby County School District that need to be filled. And if the children are the priority, and they should be, then folks will make that move. It is completely up to you. If you don't decide that you want to leave your position and move to a lower position on the pay scale, then you're going to probably be out of a job here pretty soon. The decision that needs to be made on that should be coming shortly. But again, there is a pause in all of this until the district and the superintendent can get together and figure all of this out. So the budget for Shelby County and Memphis City are about due. The current fiscal year ends on the 30th of this month. The new fiscal year starts July 1st. Well, neither one of them have finalized their budgets as of yet. The county commissioners are working on that this evening as we speak, trying to figure out how they're going to fix this, how they're going to move money, how they're going to shift things around to make everything equitable. And, of course, the city of Memphis, in the midst of a $57 million deficit, the mayor has proposed a 75% property tax increase. Back on the county side, the Erica Sugarman, one of the county commissioners, has proposed a 30 cents increase on 25% of the value of your home for a year to try to come up with this money. So you see where we are here. There's a lot of juggling going on here, but we've not yet come up with a solution. We'll keep you posted on how all of this shakes out. And there has been a warning label issued. I thought this was interesting. By the Surgeon General of the United States, that would love to see the United States Congress issue a warning label for social media for young people. It is causing a lot of problems. It is found that about young people spend anywhere from 4 to 5 hours a day on social media. And it is causing some harm to a whole lot of them, because a lot of the information that they get is not good and or healthy information. So once again, they put warning labels on cigarettes and other things. The Surgeon General thinks this is important enough to do that as well. And one final note before we get into the broadcast. Did you hear that the Cheesecake Factory is closing? The Cheesecake Factory, ladies and gentlemen, the only one in Memphis or Shelby County at the Wolf Chase Galleria, will be closing on July 14th. Now, you don't have much time. If you go over there because you like the desserts, you might want to get over there within the next 3 weeks and stock up, okay? Because when the doors are closed, that's it. I mean, and there's no moving, there's no reopening, and I believe that's the only one in West Tennessee. You might have to travel to Nashville to find one, or somewhere deep in Mississippi, like maybe towards Jackson, Mississippi, to find one if there's one down there. The Cheesecake Factory has been here since 2015. I don't know how you feel about that, but every now and again I like a good piece of chocolate cake from over there. So we'll miss it, but yeah, they're closing, just in case you didn't know. That wraps the news and notes on this rainy Monday evening. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, let's get into the broadcast, shall we? I am Chip. Glad to be with you on this beautiful day, no matter if it's liquid sunshine or it's not hot. That's a good thing, like it was over the weekend. So it's cooled things off just a bit. So we'll enjoy it. Sit back and relax and enjoy us. We'll take our first break, and we'll be back with more right after this.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Church Health and Crosstown Concourse will partner for their Vitalent Blood Drive on Friday, July 12th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Church Health Community Room on the first floor of Crosstown Concourse. More information and appointment bookings can be found at churchhealth.org.
Support for WYXR comes from Team Clean. With more than 22 years of experience, Team Clean provides services for home, work, or studio space. Biodegradable cleaning products mixed with common sense and tailored to each client's needs. Estimates and information at weareteamclean.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this rainy Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. And as we alluded to at the top of the show, everybody was all abuzz around here last week when it was announced that the XAI by Elon Musk, I believe that the guy that runs X, is bringing here. It's a supercomputer. And, I admit not to know a whole lot about all of this because they hadn't really explained a whole lot about it. But I do know that one of the groups that kind of raised some eyebrows was my first guest. And she's very popular in this community, especially protecting our water. She is the executive director of Protect Our Aquifer, and she is our very good friend, Sarah Houston. Sarah, it's great to see you. How are you?
All right, Chip, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. And I did not expect this rain today at all, so it totally threw me off.
You are not alone, sweetheart. You're absolutely not alone, but I'm glad you're here. So when you heard about this, and the one thing I did hear about it was it's going to require a lot of water and it's going to require a lot of electricity. So the first thing, there was a bit of a murmur from your organization and some of these other environmental groups in reference to this. So I'll just ask you at the top, is this a good thing for our city, and will it affect what you try to protect on a daily basis?
We don't quite know if it's good or bad yet.
Okay.
We are taking a neutral stance. It's exciting that Memphis can be home to, the world's largest supercomputer. What does that mean for, really elevating our city? But with something like that comes a lot of potential impacts, air, water, and land. So we want to dig into some of these details, get some true answers, and see what the community can actually advocate for to make sure it's going to be good for Memphis.
Yeah, they haven't really said a whole lot about this. I did hear today that the timetables moved up. It might be even faster. But again, there has to be some give and take. And I know that it would require more electrical power from MLGW. One of the biggest things that Memphis has going for it is the water, which is pristine. And I know you don't want anybody digging into that. So I guess it probably might be a little premature, but it's good to let people know that there is a component in reference to this. This thing's going to have to use a lot of water, and it's going to have to come from somewhere. Am I correct?
Right. You're exactly right. So right now they're saying 1 million to 1.5 million gallons of water a day they need.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, right now as it's kind of drawn up, they're wanting to buy it from MLGW, so coming from our aquifer. But the caveat with this one is that the location is down in Southwest Memphis,
right,
on the other side of the T.O. Fuller Park from, Boxtown and Westwood. This is where TVA's big gas facility is. This is where the city's wastewater treatment plant is. This is where Nucor Steel and President's Island. A lot of really big water users are all in this same area. Mm-hmm. And that means their water is coming from the Davis Wellfield. Now, we care about Davis Wellfield. Number one, it's the drinking water supply for Southwest Memphis.
Right.
But we know there is arsenic in the shallow aquifer, and there's a breach in the clay layer. So arsenic can get sucked down into the drinking water supply the more they pump. So they want to add another 1 million gallons a day to this well field, and it's going to pump it faster. So we've been advocating for a long time that TVA actually get off the aquifer and use recycled wastewater. The wastewater plant's right there.
Right.
And this is something that, water warriors across the county we've been pushing for years now. And then when XAI was announced a couple of weeks ago, that was one of the first things MLGW publicly stated, that they were pushing XAI to use this recycled wastewater. And we were like, they're saying it out loud now, finally. Mm-hmm. So there's some good potential that comes with that.
And having said all that, there's still some sign-offs, obviously, TVA being one of them, in terms of all of this. You and your organization have been advocating for the sanctity of our water for a very long time now. And I've had you on the show periodically, to kind of, give us a kind of an update and a checkup on things. You mentioned a minute ago that MLGW is saying something, aloud in reference to something you've been banging on them about for a long time. Sarah, in your mind, an honest assessment, is TVA or MLGW and other groups and organizations starting to understand the importance of this, and more importantly, the importance of good, clean drinking water, and what you guys have been trying to advocate for such a period of time?
I love that question. I would say short answer, yes. I think they're starting to get it. And the thing about our water, it's so pure. It's so deep down. It moves so slowly underground. So it's not like tomorrow our water's tainted and, XAI's here, we're all screwed. No, it's 20 years from now. That's how long this water takes to move underground.
Wow.
But with the latest science, the latest information, we're finding out that in 10, 20, 30 years, we could see some problems with our water across the board. And what we have to do is intervene now and slow that flow of pollution, clean it up, and that really comes with conservation, which is not a word we use around here very often because we've got plenty of water.
Right.
But it's kind of, it's really about these big industrial users understanding where they can be more efficient, more effective, and even use not pure drinking water for just cooling water. I mean, they don't need to drink it. It's not going into food products. Like, this is really just to cool down some machinery, generate steam for TVA. So everybody is in, like, the powers that be. They're starting to really recognize that there are some moves we can make now that could save them a lot of money in the future and also protect our clean drinking water supply and put community above industry.
Every time you hear something like this, we very rarely hear something like this, a project of this magnitude here, but you spend a lot of time looking forward, don't you? Because you have to look at what developments and things are coming down the road, down the pike, or organizations and groups that want to come into our valued neighborhoods and start digging around and not understanding the ramifications like the ones you've chased off in the past. But there really is, you really do have to kind of forecast out, don't you, to see what could be coming ahead in reference to what you do, correct?
Yeah, definitely. Forecast out. And then it's also kind of this balance of like reckoning with our past too. You know, when it comes to the water pollution side of stuff, a lot of the stuff we're worried about is facilities that operated back, pre-1980s, pre-1970s when they just dumped and buried chemicals out in the backyard.
Right.
So we're kind of having to reconcile with that and the future we want Memphis to be, and how do we make those two kind of meet in the middle?
Well, that is sounds like a challenging and very interesting dynamic in terms of all this. Before the XAI announcement, how have things been going in reference? Last time I had you on the show, you had another conservationist from the, I think, Flint, from Michigan, I believe she was, right? So overall, how would you assess things in terms of, because I know every time somebody talks about water, your face pops up. I see you I see you on TV or in the newspaper or somewhere. So how are things as it stands right now? Are we doing the right thing? Is TVA doing the right thing? Is MLGW becoming a better partner in understanding all of this?
Yeah, I think this is a defining moment, honestly, Chip. This is one of these moments where the powers that be can really prove by action that they are in favor of clean drinking water. It's really about putting community first and actually listening to the public. That's a big part of it. So we're starting to see kind of the tables turn a little bit. And with this issue specifically, MLGW has come out right now publicly saying that they want to see this facility get built. So that's good. Then TVA, in order to get something like this built, it's going to cost money. But it's like they sell water, they would be selling this recycled wastewater. So what we need from TVA is them to agree that they will be customers of this recycled wastewater plant. We need XAI to say they will be customers of this. So if we get some signed agreements promising to get off our aquifer and use this recycled water, that's going to be some actions behind the things that they say they care about. So that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're going to need, some community momentum to continue getting them to actually commit to some of the things that they've talked about, but it's time to show some action now.
So we really need to keep our foot on the gas and hold these folks accountable, which is what you're talking about. I think trust. This is where trust becomes a very big issue. In other words, show me, don't just tell me, show me what you're going to do, because at the end of the day, it is vitally important. And of course, we are very lucky and fortunate to have you at the helm of this group to be able to watch it. Will you do me a favor? Will you, when something crops up that you think the folks need to know about, will you hit me up and say, Chip, you need to come on the show and talk about some things? We can do that.
Oh, yeah. We might have something juicy happening this summer.
Look at you.
Around the groundwater board. So
All right.
I'll let you know when that comes to fruition. But absolutely, we couldn't do it without people power. We didn't stop the Hale pipeline just through permits and a bunch of nerdy stuff.
No.
We had to do it with people power. So we really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to the people on your show. So thank you for having us, Chip. And, we just got to keep going. We're building a good movement here, and we got to make sure that we put people first and we think about the long term so that we all have clean drinking water that we can keep bragging on.
Sarah Houston, ladies and gentlemen, she's the executive director of Protect Our Aquifer, and protect it she does. Sarah, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you again down the road, my friend. Take care.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Chip.
Bye-bye now. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're all still learning about this XAI stuff, and it's going to take a lot of water. It's going to take a lot of electricity. So don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do is what Sarah said, and which we're all sitting back waiting for to see how all of this unfolds. Great to have her on the show. We'll take another break. When we come back, hopefully my next guest, who is someone all of you know from his radio show and his daily column in the Daily Memphian, will join us on this Monday edition of Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll take a quick one. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
I'm DJ Alpha Whiskey, host of Flight Risk, and you're listening to WYXR 91.7 FM. As a nonprofit community radio station, we rely on the generosity of donors like you to keep your favorite programming on the airwaves. Become a contributing listener today at wyxr.org/donate.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Monday edition of Real Talk Memphis. Glad to have you with us, and glad to have my next guest with us. He is no stranger to any of us who have been in Memphis some period of time. You can hear him each and every morning from 9 to 11 a.m. on his own named show, the Geoff Calkins Show on 92.9 ESPN. Almost got it. And he is a columnist for the Daily Memphian. He is Geoff Calkins. Geoff, it's great to see you, man. I'm glad we can work it out. How you doing tonight?
Good to be on. Thanks for having me.
Listen, I'm glad you're here. So when I first tapped to you and we couldn't quite make it work then, I wanted to talk to you specifically at the time about this payment of athletes. Now, the colleges are paying the athletes to come in, and I listen to you pretty much religiously every morning, by the way. Yes, I did say that. Yes, and you were talking a little bit about this, and where Memphis, of all the schools in the country, does that harm us? Does that help us in any kind of way? What's your take on all of this?
Well, I think what it does is it emphasizes the growing divide. And mind you, there has historically been a divide between the Power Five conferences and the Group of Five, which is Memphis now. Because what's happening here is there was a lawsuit, and as part of the settlement of the lawsuit, the Power Five conferences agreed that going forward, they would pay athletes up to $20 million a year, direct payment from the university to those athletes. Now, right now, you've got NIL, where companies are paying athletes for endorsements and that sort of stuff. But we're talking here is literally $20 million in direct pay to athletes from Power Five universities. And so we just don't know, as it applies to Memphis, they are not included in these terms. And so is Memphis going to be paying directly? Well, if so, where are they going to get the money? If not, how in the world are they going to keep up with Ole Miss, let's say? Let's say Ole Miss is paying its athletes $20 million, writing checks directly to its athletes. How is Memphis going to possibly keep up with that? And the answer is that they can't. And so I don't see how it's anything but a bad thing for the University of Memphis, or at least it emphasizes, the reality, which is there's this massive and growing divide between, the schools of which Memphis is a part and the Power Five.
How do we compete if that's the case? I mean, and that's laid out beautifully, but I mean, it's going to be a lot harder for us to be able to compete with the other schools.
Well,
correct?
I think there is still a hope, even if it's a vague hope, that Memphis might someday find itself on the other side of this divide, right? Like we've seen, that's been the goal of. It was a goal of UCF, and it was a goal of Louisville before that, and Houston and Cincinnati are all now included in the Power Five, and they get bigger TV checks, and therefore they're able to pay more money. I do think there's still various scenarios that you look at, if the ACC were ever to implode, maybe because we know that Florida State wants out and Clemson wants out. Right. Maybe some of the remaining groups of the ACC, including Louisville, would scoop up Memphis. So there's scenarios where you still hope that maybe Memphis will make it, to the other side. Beyond that, it's going to be very difficult to compete. It doesn't mean that certain given years you can't keep up, but I think what it suggests is that the next 40 years of Memphis sports will look different than the last 40 years. Because for the last 40 years, you've really thought that if the planets align, University of Memphis could, for example, win a basketball title. They haven't, but they've gotten to the Final Four. They've gotten to a championship game twice. It's sort of hard to imagine that going forward if all of a sudden, everyone's paying out dramatically more than you are.
It's very interesting. I heard you talk this morning a little bit about the new
athletic director.
The athletic director. I'm sorry. Yeah, the athletic director search, and I think there's 4 or 5 that they mentioned that are in the mix. Several of them African American, and that's never happened. I don't believe they've ever had one. Have they at the University of Memphis?
No, there's not been an African American AD at the University of Memphis.
So having said that, and I thought that was very interesting because that was something I hadn't never thought about. How interesting is that to you that there's a good chance that one of them could be in this position? And, what does it say about the direction of sports at the University of Memphis?
Yeah, I think it's obviously important. It's important for all kinds of reasons. When you're a majority black city, it seems to me that it makes sense to have people in positions of influence who look like the people that they're ultimately serving, right? I think it makes some sense. Now we've had progress. We have had black basketball coaches, and there's never been a black AD. Yeah. We've had a black football coach. It didn't go well for Larry Porter, but there was a black football coach at the University of Memphis. So I think it's a good thing if it works out that way. I don't know. There's right now, at least from the candidates that my colleagues at the Daily Memphian reported will be interviewed, and it was not a complete list. It was most of the folks. There was only one white candidate on that list. So I think it would be significant if it were to happen. I think it would be symbolically important if it were to happen. I don't think it's the most important qualification. Obviously, you want the person to be qualified, but the candidates that they found, Mark Alnut is one of them, and he's a sitting athletic director at the University of Memphis who had been here in another role before. There's a deputy AD at Clemson and a deputy AD at Virginia. Both seem highly qualified. I can't speak to what they're like personally. I don't know them, who seem highly qualified. So I think there's a reasonable chance that happens. Ryan Alpert is the candidate from the University of Tennessee, who's white. He's been here before at Memphis, so he understands the ropes at Memphis as well, just like Mark Alnut does. I have no idea what direction they're going to go, but I think it's a positive sign that you have certainly a diverse interview pool.
I mentioned a bit earlier, and I heard you talk. We lost Jerry West last week.
Yeah.
Very, very closely connected to here to us with the Memphis Grizzlies. As the head guy up there for a while. And you had some very interesting things to say about him. Your relationship with him wasn't always the smoothest, but I love the detail that you share. Can you share a little bit about your thoughts?
Had I known you were going to ask me about this, I'd have the book with me. But Jerry West, I'll just look up here real quick what he's. Jerry West was, we think of him as the logo, and sort of this elegant man from afar who seems cool and is a tremendous basketball player, and he's a great golfer. He was an incredible NBA executive with the Lakers, multiple time NBA executive of the year. And then you meet him and you work with him, or you work alongside him, cover him, and you realize to say he's complicated doesn't begin to cover it. He's intensely competitive, prone to real moodiness, depression. He's talked about that himself. He very famously, there was a game 7 between the Lakers back when he was with the Lakers, and he was an executive with the Lakers, and Portland. He couldn't even watch game 7. He wanted to watch Gladiator instead in the movie theater. And so with me, he would occasionally blow up. and he'd leave. I had a voicemail once from him, and it began, "Hey Geoff, this is after a trade I criticized. They traded Jason Williams, and this is after Jason Williams had came at me in the locker room, and unrelated to the fact that he came at me in the locker room. But that offseason, they traded him to Miami, and I criticized the trade. And he called and he said, "Hey Geoff, it's Jerry West. Hope you're well. Whatever else." And then he just started cursing me. He said, every curse word you could imagine. And he said, among other things, that I wish they hadn't gotten between you and Jason Williams in the locker room.
Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness.
And then he said, have a good day. Talk to you soon. Like that, like whatever. And then when he left, he gave me a book. The book is called Anyway, the Paradoxical Commandments, Finding Personal Meaning in a Crazy World is the name of the book.
Wow.
And it's essentially a self-help book. And he inscribed it. It says, "Geoff, this book reflects almost everything I believe in life. As my life runs down in the NBA, I would hope this would be as meaningful for you as it has been for me. Best wishes always, Jerry West." And I was touched. I've covered lots of people in my life, and I've never had anyone see, and what really struck me was that Jerry is a guy who is, as you would say, he's a great man, great at everything he did, playing basketball, making trades, everything. And yet he felt like every day he was not enough, and that he wanted to be a better version of himself. And partly what he was doing, giving me that book, was helping me to become a better version of myself. It was really striking.
Wow, that was really, I was riveted to your conversation when you were talking a little bit about that. And at the end of the day, he just wanted to, like you say, do better. And I guess that was his
he never thought he was enough.
Right,
yeah, he never thought he was enough, even though he was, one of the best who ever played and one of the best who ever ran a team.
Boston Celtics going to complete things this evening?
You would think. Yeah, you would think. I mean, they've been the best team all year long, and have been the best team in this series. And obviously you had, Dallas winning game 4, but it felt like that was one last desperate gasp from Dallas, and Boston saw the way it was going to go and essentially gave up and said, we'll finish this at home. So I imagine that's how it'll go. Yeah.
Geoff Calkins, I like I said, I really enjoy listening to you in the morning. You get my morning started off right. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear him every morning from 9 to 11 a.m. on 92.9 ESPN. You can always read him in sports. Has it in the Daily Memphian? Has it bothered you? How's been the transition from writing everyday sports to just writing about everyday things?
Yeah, it's because you talk about all kinds of things, and what I've discovered, partly I just got, some of it was I just got weary of going to every game, every trade, every press conference, whatever. Yeah. And so partly I wanted to write about the world beyond. The world beyond is awfully complicated. That's partly what I've like, I would like to weigh in on, some of the criminal justice issues, some of the, right now you've got, you got folks who want to dislodge Steve Mulroy, the DA. And that strikes me as preposterous, honestly. It strikes me as the same people who want to dislodge Steve Mulroy are the people who haven't done a damn thing about our gun laws and don't necessarily address poverty and don't whatever, and they want to blame. But writing about those issues is so intensely complicated, and I'm not steeped. I haven't spent my life studying them. Sort of in the world of sports, I feel like I know what I'm talking about. In the rest of the world, I'm a little more hesitant to write hard-hitting columns because it's so intensely complicated. So I'm still getting my feet under me, I'd say.
Well, Geoff, really appreciate you, man, taking the time to come on the show tonight. I really enjoy you, and I hope that we can get you back down when the basketball season comes again. I'm gonna be tapping on your door.
Anytime. Thanks very much. It's fun to be on.
Thank you, Geoff. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay.
Geoff Calkins, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely that. We'll take one final break, and when we come back, we're going to shift gears again, and we're going to talk a little bit about gun safety with a gun safety expert. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Glad to have you along for the ride. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Will from Crosstown Brewing Company. We support WYXR 91.7 FM. A favorite beer is just like a favorite song. We feel something new every time we encounter them. Cheers to playing the hits and tasting the notes.
You're listening, but are you in the know? The WYXR weekly newsletter is the best source for keeping up with events at WYXR. Whether they are happening on our airwaves, behind the scenes, or out in the community. Log on to newsletter.wyxr.org to sign up for our mailing list and keep yourself in the loop.
It's Shell season, and you're invited to experience live music at no cost. From blues and R&B to country Americana, the Orion Free Concert Series at the Overton Park Shell is showcasing a diverse lineup of talent throughout the summer and fall. More information can be found at overtonparkshell.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to the show. And of course, we all know it doesn't take a PhD or rocket science to figure out that gun safety is a big problem here. Gun control is a big problem in our country. We see evidence of all of that going on each and every day. I thought it was time to bring this man back on the show. He is a former Shelby County Sheriff's deputy. He is a gun safety expert. He has his own facility where he teaches folks how to use guns safely. Please welcome to the broadcast, Bennie Cobb. And Bennie, it's great to see you, my friend. How you been doing?
I'm doing great, Chip. How you doing? It's good to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Absolutely that. Well, first of all, I know you keep a very close watch on things. I know you're very busy at your facility as well. I mean, I don't even know how to describe what we are as a community, as a city, dealing with on a daily basis with this gun violence. What say you?
Well, it's unparalleled. Chip, I've spent over 40 years in law enforcement, public safety, and I've never seen it this bad. Of course, the legislature passed a law where you don't have to have you can have permitless carry. Anybody can just pick up a gun now and carry it without training, or as long as they are not supposed to be a convicted felon. But everybody has a gun, and people that you see on the streets say, I'd rather get caught with it by the police than to get caught without it by my ops.
That in and of itself is a very strong statement. Something happened with the Supreme Court the other day in reference to bump stocks. I think I pronounced that right. What is that, and why is that? Because from your words, I saw you on social media say it just got even more dangerous out here. Tell us about that.
Well, absolutely. So bump stocks were banned by former President Trump. He put it into place where they banned the bump stock. Bump stock is a mechanism that you put on to a semi-automatic rifle that essentially makes it function in a fully automatic mode. If you remember, there were a major mass casualty, I believe it was in Las Vegas, where the gentleman had a bump stock on his rifle, was shooting out of the window into a concert.
Yes.
There were so many people killed, and as a result of that, this was an incident. Bump stock was banned and has been banned. Now, we understand that the Supreme Court of the United States is the highest law in the land. What they say go. And obviously, they felt like that this was not a danger to citizens, so they reversed the ban on bump stocks. A bump stock is equivalent to what we hear about all the time, the block switches.
That's a very scary proposition that you just laid out for us, and I don't really think people really totally understand that. You're a part of an organization that I didn't know you were a part of, but it is growing. It is an African-American organization. You're the president of it. Tell us about it. Tell us the function, and I believe you have something coming up with them. So go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I am so proud. Now, for years and years, everybody has heard of the NRA, and I've been a member of the NRA, National Rifle Association.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, I've been hearing about this National African American Gun Association. I started doing some research about 3 years ago, and found out that it's something that I want to be a part of, but it's also something that I want to bring to the African American community, to Memphis, Tennessee. I understand it's not just an African American association. We have Caucasians, we have Latinos. What we're doing here is we're bringing in this program, a gun club, to where we're doing education, we're doing gun safety, we're doing self-defense, all the good things. We are anti-violence, and we're having a kickoff and a launch. I want to invite people to come to it.
Mm-hmm.
Chip, I don't know if your listening audience know about the African American Museum over on Firestone. There's a very, very large and huge, vibrant African American museum, and we're at 1036 Firestone.
Mm-hmm.
We're having our kickoff Thursday, launching the National African American Gun Association, and our association club is called 901 Brothers and Sister Keeper. And we're going to be launching it at the African American Museum in conjunction with the Juneteenth.
What do you want people to know? In terms, you started to explain it a minute ago about this organization. We hear that, but what do you want folks that look like us and anybody else who's interested to know about what you're trying to do and why it is so important?
Well, of course, we want to be take advantage of being good stewardship and members of the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment to the Constitution gives us the right to bear arms. But we also want to go farther than that. We want to educate people. We want to bring people in that would not have otherwise have thought about having a gun or afraid of using a gun. My grandchildren, all 6 of them, have guns. And a couple of them, they enjoy going to the gun range. It's not for self-defense. It's more for gun safety. I have guns in my home, and I want my grandkids to understand the safety factor of it, especially when they go to somebody else's home.
Mm-hmm.
We're engaging in self-defense, talk with the people that come in. We're doing community engagement. Safe storage is one of the things that's happening. Chip, the legislators here in Tennessee have passed a law to where beginning next year, K through 12 school children have to have gun safety in school. So we are getting a jump on that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be proactive with the kids in our community. We're going to be proactive with the females and the anybody that wants to come and get the information to be a part of the 901 Brothers and Sister Keeper.
You mentioned a bit earlier that our state legislature basically took it down to the age of 18, where you can have permitless carry. You don't need any training. You don't need any background. You don't need anything. And I still to this day don't understand why they did that. And secondly, why we can't seem to get some type of realistic gun control legislation passed, in light of what we see every day, in light of what happened at the elementary school up near the Capitol in Nashville, folks begging and pleading for some type of control. Do you see a time around here where that will ever happen realistically?
Realistically, no. I have some friends in the Senate from Shelby County, and have conversation with them. They're proposing, they're pushing, they're begging the legislation to reconsider. I don't think it's going to happen because of the makeup of the state. It's a bad thing. It's not good for it's not good for Memphis. It's not good for Nashville. As has been said. I don't see it being reversed. The biggest thing that I think we could do is start trying to educate people, because guns are not going anywhere. There's roughly 32 states now that have permitless carry.
Oh, wow. That's really that right there. That for me is the red light. That's a big deal. 30. I had no idea it was that many states that had that. You're teaching gun safety. You're teaching folks how to use them accurately and the right way. I have said on this show, and I don't know if it's true or not, but Bennie, the proliferation of guns in this city, it seems like there are more guns in this city and the availability of them than there are citizens in this city. Am I far off?
You're absolutely correct. Everybody has 2 or 3 guns. And the gun of choice, we used to hear people talking about Glocks and 9s, but the weapon of choice now is a AK or AR-15.
Man, yeah.
And those are the high capacity, high velocity rifles, and they're legal now. One thing that did happen, and will probably come back up, there was legislation that was out on the table to make it legal to go permitless with a rifle or shotgun in public with it loaded. Now you can have them in public right now. Of course, you can walk around with them in public, but they can't be loaded and you can't do menacing. But that failed. It'll come back up soon, I'm sure.
Unbelievable. Bennie Cobb, man, I've known you a long time, and I know you're a proponent of gun safety and doing the right thing, and I really appreciate you taking time to come on the show. Anybody who wants to know more about your organization or being part of your event, you have any contact information they can?
Yes, of course. My phone number is 901-649-8539. We're going to have a major event, major launch kickoff at the 1036 Firestone at the African American Museum. This Thursday at 5 o'clock, we're going to have the media there. We're going to have kids there because it's all about gun safety for kids. We're going to have there's some very influential politicians that's involved. So it's going to be a big deal. I encourage and invite people to come out if they want to see what it's all about. I don't know if you all can see this shirt that I have, but we have these nice shirts that's representing the association. And we're about 200 members strong now here in Memphis.
Oh, wow. Well, listen, man, thank you for coming on. The best of luck to you always. And I'll always say, please stay safe out there as well. Bennie, I look to talk to you again down the road, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Take care now.
You too, my friend. And that puts a wrap on the show, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that as Brent plays this out, I hope you enjoyed what you heard tonight with some great guests. Marcus Dwayne Belton checking us out tonight, my man. Appreciate you. Also appreciate see Geraldine Orange is on here, my man. JGKP Worth is checking us out tonight, and my boy Jet Lucas. Jet taught me a lot about radio, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I owe a lot to that fella. Linda P. Hardaway is checking us out tonight as well. I don't want to miss folks. Buddy Smith, Brian Goff, and my man Mike Harris. Leslie Clear. I appreciate all of you on the Facebook Live line tonight. I appreciate anybody who's paying attention and listening to us, be it on radio, social media, or wherever, however. If you like what we do, keep supporting the show and keep telling others about it. In the meantime, in between time, please be safe and careful out there. For Bren, for Lola, I'm Chip. Please be careful. Watch out for yourself and watch out for other folks because they may not be watching out for you. God bless each and every one. And until next time, we are out.